Hey, True Believers, Englentine here, and this time around we're going to count down the worst independent comic books of 2019. Now, I do have to admit something, because these were so bad in their initial run, I didn't read a lot past the first issue. Some of them I only read the first issue because they were so bad. Just wanted to get that out there. Otherwise, the rules are the same as the best of 2019, just opposite. So, let's get this party started. Number 10. Maryland Manor by Max Visaggio. Imagine somebody's trying to tell you a little bit about American history, but they've never gone beyond their own thoughts or even their own suspicions to learn anything about history. And then imagine that they tried to put all of this into a teenage girl, and this is what you get. It is just amazingly bad. They introduce characters by literally introducing characters. She's discovered a tunnel and now has invited her friends into the White House when the First Lady and the President have left. That's not the way things work, by the way. She would definitely be watched a little bit more, and so would the White House. And they just go around. The president is obviously supposed to be Ronald Reagan I think during the 80s, and he's of course a bigot and hateful Republican, and it's, oh my goodness gracious, this book is so bad and so freaking biased. It's actually I'm not amazed that it got published. Number 9, At the End of Your Tether. So I saw the covers to this book. I thought, okay, wow, that looks really interesting. And then I read the first few pages, and okay, so it's dealing with some sort of witchcraft stuff. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then I read a little bit further, and it becomes incredibly dull slice of life book. And I just kept going, okay, you know what? You're burying your lead. You started off really interesting, but then all of a sudden, it's not about what you said it was going to be about anymore, or at least it takes so long to get there that the rest of the first issue isn't about what the first few pages were. And it was, like I said, it was just so boring, so dull, so uninteresting, and the art isn't good enough to hold it up as well. By the time I hit the last page of the first issue, I was done with the series. Number 8. Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid saga continues. Yes, I had to get this. I really did. I love the YouTube TV show. I'm in, and I love the original movies, except for number 3 and 4. Who likes Next Karate Kid, really? Anyway, if you're going to retell the story of Karate Kid, which this does, you gotta kind of try to find the heart of the movie itself. We actually saw this part, by the way, because this is supposed to be the story of Karate Kid through the eyes of Johnny, and that we got that on the TV show. Now, it's really simple. If they could have given it the heart, if they could have given it the soul that the TV show did, it would have been worth it. Unfortunately, bad art and poor writing, you could tell that no real effort went into this, and that's really sad, because this, I think, could have been something. Number 7. Talk about a book that could have been something, man. First of all, I got to admit, I judged a book by its cover. I love these covers, the albums, the whole 9 yards. It really looked good to me. I'm thinking, all right, it's going to be a really cool noir story. And in all honesty, it does start off that way. And, it kind of continues as well. But unfortunately, every character in this book is unlikable and just kind of whiny instead of interesting. It's oh goodness, it's like they decided to play caricatures instead of characters, and that just it made it fall flat after a while. This one I actually made it, I do believe, up until issue number 4 or 5. I was like, you know what, I can't do this. It's not good. I realized I was doing it out of habit and hope that this would get better instead of what I actually liked. Number 6, Be Free. Written by national treasure Gabby Rivera, the person I actually named my worst of the year comic book awards after, because the writing is horrible. And the writing is horrible here as well as the art, to tell you the truth. One of the things that got me, though, is the same thing that got me in the movie Crawl. You place it in Florida, but you know nothing about Florida. That's why if I ever wrote a story, I wouldn't place it in New York. I don't know New York. I do, however, know Florida. And that's one of the things that got me. The other one is the I'm all right, everybody around me is wrong kind of characters that a lot of modern day hip writers like to do. The teenagers that knows everything. That's poured into this story as well. It's so just not written well. It is such a bad book in that level. Number 5. Well, you knew this one had to come up at some point in time, didn't you? Man-eaters. So, oh my goodness gracious. By the way, that was period blood on the girl's finger there. This one was born of anger, and it continued to be angry all the way through. This isn't a story as much as it is a statement, and unfortunately the statement really isn't all that interesting. Now, granted, I have to admit, this is probably the book on this list that I have made it through more issues, mainly because I always figured I could do a video on it, ripping it apart. But in all honesty, I got bored with it, so that never came to fruition. Number 4, Napoleon Dynamite. Okay, I figured I would give this book a try, and that's cool. I remember watching the film. My wife liked it a little bit more than I did, but still, I found its quirky humor to be fun and funny in some places even. And so I picked up this book. I opened it up, and oh my gosh, they draw Napoleon Dynamite as if he was a freaking garbage pail kid. The humor that so much relies on the way that the lines are delivered is just dropped right here. It's like somebody described to the writer what the Napoleon Dynamite movie was, and the writer said, okay, I guess I could do that, and he wrote not the character itself. You know, it's this bizarre twist of the character. It just misses the target completely. Number 3, Cobra. This is okay, so it's kind of a ripoff of Suicide Squad, and the whole group is now going after their leader because he's betrayed them. And my goodness gracious, if you haven't had the joy of Mikhail Fife art, it's amazingly bad. It's incredibly bad. I can't understate how horrible it is, but at least it's about as good as the writing, which is also not all that great. It's kind of like, you know how everybody's like, oh, we need to bring back the comics of the 90s. Well, it looks like Michael Fife only read Extreme Comics in the 90s. So he's like, yeah, I could do that. Bad art, bad writing, paramilitary team of superheroes going out and slaughter. Yeah, we could do that. That's exactly it. That's the ticket. And so he created Cobra. It's not good. Number 2. G.I. Joe Sierra Muerte. Okay, so imagine everything I said about Cobra, and then let's take the G.I. Joe team down with us. It's exactly that. My goodness gracious, this guy just fails upward. He really does. People are calling him genius. At least I've seen, not readers call him genius. Readers that I know of are like, wow, that looks horrible and bad. I don't want to read that. But I've actually read from critics where they're like, oh, the genius of Michael Fife. Are you looking at this? Are you reading this? It's horrible. Like I said, it is all the worst elements of the 1990s just reborn. Oh my goodness. It's one of the things I said. Be careful what you wish for. You may just get it. This is Extreme Comics all over again, except for, in all honesty, I'd rather read Extreme Comics. And the number 1 worst independent comic book of 2019 is The Mask. I pledge allegiance to The Mask. You probably knew this because it's on the thumbnail, and I didn't do this 1 through 9. Maybe I shouldn't put the number 1 book in the thumbnail. Make it a little more secret. Point being, this book sucks. It's horrible. The reason why I put this as number 1, even though the actual art, while not great, is still better than anything Michael Fife has done, is this book offended me. I was like, really? This is where you're going with it? I'm not a big fan of books where there are no likable characters, where there's no one to get behind, nothing to get to. Otherwise, to me, it's just pointless. You know, if you can't root for a character or anything like that, there's just no point to it. And that's where I went with The Mask. I'm not a big fan of The Mask anyway, but this doesn't even have the heart of the original. The original at least tried to be clever. This one, it just seems mean-spirited, in all honesty. I just can't get behind it. I wasn't interested. I dropped it after the first issue. I never cared to go back to maybe give it a try. Oh, you might be wrong about it. No, I'm good. I'm good here. This book is garbage. It's absolute unreadable garbage in my opinion. So there you go, gang. That is my 10 worst independent comic books of 2019. So what did you think? Is there something that you thought didn't deserve to be on the list? And if there was something on the list that you agreed with, but maybe it's too high, maybe it's too low, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, you want to see more, please click like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and make sure that your notifications are set on all for YouTube and Google. Yeah, I know they make everybody jump through a whole bunch of hoops these days, but that's the way of things, I guess. If you don't mind helping out the channel, going over to Patreon or Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the tip jar, and helps keep the lights on here, helps keep making videos for you. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.